Every self-help guru tells you procrastination is weakness. But neuroscience reveals something darker. When you delay that critical decision, you're activating the same neural pathway that kept your ancestors alive in a world of invisible threats. The human who rushed into unknown territory became food. The one who hesitated, observed, waited, their DNA is inside you right now. Your procrastination isn't laziness. It's 300,000 years of evolutionary intelligence screaming, something's not right here. Why? The productivity cult is rewiring your survival instincts. Here's the conspiracy. Hiding in plain sight. Hustle culture wasn't designed to make you successful. It was engineered to make you compliant. Think about it. An animal that pauses is unpredictable. An animal that reacts instantly, perfectly controllable. Henry Ford didn't just invent the assembly line, he weaponized it against human instinct. He literally timed bathroom breaks and penalized workers for wasting seconds. What we're experiencing now is Ford's nightmare on steroids. Productivity apps tracking your every minute. Slack messages demanding instant replies. Algorithm-driven performance reviews. All designed to override your natural pause button. Power Law 13 states, when asking for help, appeal to self-interest, never mercy. The productivity industry appeals to your fear. They've rebranded your ancestral wisdom as pathology, so you'll buy their cure. Another app, another course, another method, promising to fix what was never broken. There's a military decision-making protocol called the Boyd cycle. Observe, orient, decide, act. Created by fighter pilot strategist John Boyd. Notice what comes first. Not action, observation, strategic delay. The best combat pilots aren't the fastest on the trigger. They're the ones who know when not to fire, when to pause and reassess. But in corporate America, every pause is punished. They call it overthinking, analysis, paralysis, decision fatigue, when actually, you're running the same protocol that keeps special forces operators alive in hostile territory. In 1972, psychologist David Rosenhan conducted the infamous thud experiment, sending fake patients into psychiatric hospitals. Once labeled, these perfectly sane people couldn't convince anyone they were normal. The system needed them to be sick. Sound familiar? The productivity system needs you to believe procrastination is a disease. Because healthy hesitation doesn't generate revenue. Your nervous system processes 11 million pieces of information per second. Your conscious mind, 40. When you procrastinate, you're letting those 11 million bits do their job. You're giving your subconscious time to detect patterns your rational brain missed. What if the task you've been avoiding for months isn't meant to be done? Comment detect if you've ever pushed through procrastination and immediately regretted it. Hit that like button. If this is rewiring how you see yourself, subscribe because there's more uncomfortable truth coming. And share this with whoever keeps shaming you for hesitating. Maybe they need to understand you're not broken. You're primitively brilliant. How? Your anxiety might be an ancient social threat detector. You're about to hit send on that important message. Suddenly, anxiety floods in. You delay. Rewrite it 17 times. Procrastinate for hours. Everyone says this is modern neurosis. But what if it's the opposite? What if it's your Paleolithic brain detecting social landmines your conscious mind hasn't registered yet? Primatologists studying baboons in Kenya discovered something fascinating. Individuals who hesitate before approaching dominant group members live significantly longer. The impulsive ones? Attacked, exiled, or killed. Social procrastination is a documented survival trait across primate species for decades. You're not delaying because you're weak. You're scanning invisible hierarchies. Power Law 46 warns, never appear too perfect. Procrastination gives you time to calibrate imperfection, to observe group dynamics before committing. It's not paralysis, it's social intelligence operating on evolutionary time, not corporate time. The Stanford Prison Experiment of 1971 revealed how quickly artificial power structures corrupt behavior. Guards became sadistic within days. Prisoners became submissive. Why? Because the environment was fake, and something in their nervous systems knew it. Some participants reported feeling paralyzed, unable to act. What researchers dismissed as weakness was actually their brain screaming, the situation is dangerous and wrong. Now examine your workplace. Artificial hierarchy, externally imposed goals, arbitrary deadlines. Your brain procrastinates because it's shouting. This doesn't compute evolutionarily. You know that weird feeling before accepting certain invitations or projects? That chill that makes you delay your response? Researchers call this embodied cognition. Your body knows before your mind does. And it's coming from the same neural circuit that warned your ancestors about untrustworthy tribe members plotting behind their backs. Game theory research shows that in repeated social interactions, the most successful strategy isn't aggression or immediate cooperation. It's called tit for tat with forgiveness, which requires observation, delay, pattern recognition. Procrastination before social commitment. When was the last time you procrastinated and later realized your hesitation was correct? But here's where it gets darker. If procrastination is this valuable, why does every system pressure you to override it? Why is delay treated as sin? Because an animal that trusts its instincts can't be domesticated, and there are forces that desperately need you domesticated. What saber-toothed cats taught us about strategic delay? Let's rewind 40,000 years. Two Paleolithic hunters, same tribe, equal skill, both spot fresh tracks of a massive predator near their camp. The first acts immediately. Fresh meat means status, respect, survival insurance. The second hesitates. Something feels off. He delays the hunt. 4 hours later, they find the first hunter's remains. The cat was waiting in ambush. The procrastinator had children. The action taker became a cautionary tale. This is the brutal truth productivity culture hides. Natural selection favored strategic hesitators. Paleoanthropology studies show humans who reached the top of the food chain weren't the most aggressive. They were the most cautious. The overthinkers. The ones who delayed until they had more information. Power Law 3 commands. Conceal your intentions. But there's a deeper layer here. Acting too quickly reveals your hand. Strategic procrastination, that keeps opponents suspended in uncertainty, creates doubt. In a world where information is currency, hesitation is weaponry. There's a remarkable account from Arctic explorer Roald Amundson's 1911 race to the South Pole. While his competitor Robert Scott rushed forward with rigid plans, Amundsen procrastinated at each stage. Waited for weather, observed his dogs, delayed decisions until conditions aligned. Scott's team called it cowardice. Amundsen's entire team survived. Scott's entire team perished. The hesitation wasn't fear, it was wisdom wearing a cowardice mask. Your autonomic nervous system constantly processes millions of data points your conscious brain never accesses. When you procrastinate on a major decision, you're not being indecisive. You're allowing your entire neural network, the 95% operating below consciousness, to analyze patterns, assess threats, calculate odds that your rational mind with its tiny bandwidth simply cannot process. Evolutionary biologists studying decision-making in extreme environments found that individuals who delay action during uncertainty have 73% higher survival rates than immediate actors. 73%. The data is clear. In genuinely dangerous situations, procrastination saves lives. What if your hesitation is your most sophisticated threat assessment system? Like and subscribe if this is fundamentally shifting how you see yourself. Comment. Wait. If you've ever been called indecisive when you were actually being intelligent. But not all procrastination is equal. There's the kind that saves your life. And there's the kind that's been artificially implanted in your neural circuitry by external forces with agendas you've never questioned. Why your reptilian brain still controls your to-do list. Your boss demands that report. You stare at the blank screen. Nothing. Total procrastination. But here's what nobody tells you. This paralysis isn't character failure. It's your limbic system, the oldest part of your brain activating the identical protocol that kept your ancestors breathing when predators lurked in darkness. Power Law 21 says, play a sucker to catch a sucker, but what if the real sucker is whoever ignores internal alarms? Procrastination is, neurologically speaking, a strategic pause. When you delay, your brain is scanning the environment for invisible threats. That project might hide political landmines, that difficult conversation could detonate in your face. In the 1960s, anthropologists studying isolated groups in the Amazon rainforest discovered something striking. The most successful hunters weren't the fastest or bravest. They were the most hesitant. Those who paused, watched, waited for the perfect moment. The tribe called them shadow readers. Meanwhile, in the modern corporate jungle, we call these same people unproductive. There's an interesting theory circulating in neuroscience forums. The productivity industry was constructed to disconnect you from natural self-preservation instincts, to transform humans into obedient machines. Consider it. Every time you feel guilt about procrastinating, you're being manipulated by a system profiting from your burnout. Your reptilian brain doesn't understand corporate deadlines. It understands safe versus dangerous, known versus unknown, survival versus extinction. When you procrastinate, you're activating the same neural circuit that made your ancestors wait out storms before hunting. It's not laziness, it's wisdom, encoded in your DNA for 200,000 years. NSIS investigation protocols are explicit. Never enter a room without knowing all exits. Procrastination is mapping exits. It's threat assessment disguised as delay. Neuroscientist Antonio Damasio's research on decision-making revealed that patients with damage to emotional processing areas make decisions instantly and disastrously. They can't procrastinate. They lack the pause that saves lives. His conclusion? Hesitation isn't a bug. It's the feature that makes humans successful. What if true courage isn't immediate action, but knowing when to wait? The question nobody wants to ask: if procrastination is weakness, why did evolution hardwire it so deeply into human neurology? Why does every successful strategic system from military operations to championship chess depend on calculated delay? Because what they're not telling you is that your procrastination might be the only thing standing between you and catastrophic mistakes.